start. You ready? How you feeling? Yeah?
As ready as I'm going to be.
Ready as ever? All right. Welcome, everybody, to the FIREchat podcast. With me today is Miss Farrah Lane. Say hi to the people.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Farrah has been a real estate investor for many years. She works for the club as well. And we're going to chat a little bit about FIRE, financial independence through real estate, and her journey towards that, and maybe mine a little bit, some background on the club, and a little bit of like where this podcast is going to go in the future here. So with that, man, where should we start? I guess we'll start with, maybe we'll backtrack from real estate a second, and we'll just do financial independence. So like, what does financial independence mean to you?
For me, that just means that I'm able to make decisions not based on finances, that it's does it align with my vision? Mm-hmm. So
That's good.
I want to spend more time with family. I'm not like, I can't do that. I don't have enough money. I just want to be able, make memories with our family. We have my partner Andrew and I. We have two. They're my bonus kids. They're 10 and 8. But I want to be able to spend as much time with them as possible, create those memories, and not worry about money.
I like that. So it's like make money so you don't have to worry about money.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. All right. And if like you mentioned vision, if like, do you have something that's like written up on the wall or like?
So it's a work in progress. It's a live document. So this is always changing. I mean, as you know, I mean, you've mentioned some stuff about your vision in the past, but which maybe you care to share a little bit about yours after mine. But so I mean, you dream. You dream about it. It's like when you're writing it, you're not wondering, how can I make that happen? Or that's going to cost money. It's just it's limitless. Yeah. And it's just whatever you dream. And then there's different buckets. There's family, there's health, there's, business. There's just all different types of buckets that you go into. Right now, it's in an outline form on paper. I do have it printed out, and I try to read it as often as possible just to keep it. When I'm making decisions, I'm able to make decisions based on what my vision is. Right? Yeah. Like, wait, this opportunity that's presented itself to me, is it getting me closer to my vision or further away?
Excellent. So, you mentioned different buckets and your bonus kids, and did it start? When did you like realize that you're like, because I think a lot of us come to that similar point that we're like, maybe we're working a job and we're just like, I don't want to do this like the rest of my life. And maybe it's something you made good money at, but like, you're just like not happy. Where was that point for you? Was there that point, and where? It
was actually just by random chance. I mean, I say random, but it was a random circumstance where I got injured at work. I was working at Costco. At the time, I think it was like 16 years. And since I got injured at work, I was at home for quite a while because I wasn't able to actually go in person and work. And I just kind of got into this funk, like I don't call it depression, but like I didn't know what to do with my time. And then that's when Andrew was like, hey, go ahead and he was listening to the audiobook, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so I started listening to it, and I was like...
Wait, so Andrew listened to it before you did?
He did. Wow. He did. He's a big reader. He loves his audiobooks as well, like when he's, just having that time to listen instead of read. And that's when I was like, wow, this is what I want to do. This makes sense, which I was... At the time, I was actually already doing it. I had bought a place in Colorado. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo. Just my first place I ever purchased. And when I was living out there, I was renting one of the rooms. But when I moved back to California, I actually I still owned it and just rented it out. And I was like, oh, I'm already doing this. So I didn't know it was an actual thing that you could do as a career. And so I started exploring that. That's when I stumbled upon Bigger Pockets, started listening to the podcast. And then from there, they're heavy on get, into your local real estate club. And that's what I did. So I think I searched Google or maybe even Meetup because I'm a big Meetup user. I was using it at the time for hiking and just other groups that, finding like-minded individuals. So I stumbled upon the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. And
Nice. How long ago was that?
That was probably the beginning of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I think the very first meeting was May of 2019. And that's when Stephen and Todd were still running the club. And then
May of 2019. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny is I think I was at that meeting, but I don't know if we met.
Yeah.
Because I know we didn't meet until what I actually remember meeting is at Masters.
Yes, that was the first time I think
21.
we knew. 21. Yeah.
Because they didn't do it in 2020. Okay.
Yeah. It's
There's
a blur.
lot that happened in that 6 months.
A lot.
A
lot.
It feels like it was 2020, but it wasn't. It was like the next year. So,
Yeah.
So you found the club originally. Came to a couple meetings, and then obviously we shut down for COVID. And then we met in Vegas and for Masters of Real Estate, and then you came. What you showed up for? What was the next event after November? Was it the Christmas party?
I think
Holiday party?
it was exchangers. I can't remember the first thing I showed up to after I saw that event.
Exchangers. I forgot we started Exchangers right then. Also.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot happened in those last few months.
Yeah.
Right on. So for the people that are new, what is Exchangers?
Oh man.
The quick version.
I'm like, I like to, it's hard to explain until you're here because so much happens. But I kind of, when I describe it to someone is, taking something that you have, maybe it's not something that you want to own necessarily. It's not that, you don't like it, but you trade it for something that you dislike less. That's actually what Andy says.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
it's like bartering, but at the same time, you're not just bartering. You don't have to trade something for something of equal value. You could, throw something else in to bring it up to the same value, and then value is very so what I'm looking for subjective. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I mean we do the traditional deals too. You could throw up a house and get what you want for it cash and call it a day. I did one of those deals today, but and then there's another. I did a couple deals today. So we do Exchangers every Thursday, 12 o'clock on Zoom and in person here in the clubhouse. But I know we could do a whole meeting on just Exchangers. So but we'll bring it back to the financial independence part. So so you have your vision, you have it written down somewhere. You have it broken up into like short-term goals, long-term goals.
Actually, it's just the way I did the vision is how do I want to live my life on a day-to-day basis? Like what is a day in the life of Farrah look like? I wake up, do I go for a walk, and then do I ideally I would love to have like a full garden that, feeds my family. So, just be able to go and pick some fresh produce from my garden and make breakfast, grab some eggs from the chickens, that's what a morning would look like and so on and so forth. So,
have you gardened that much before?
Have I what?
Have you gardened that like intensely before?
At our old house, we did have a pretty good sized garden where I could, make a salad.
Nice.
Yeah.
I say that's
so now we have, we have 5 acres at our new house. So there's room. There's room for that.
Yeah. That's cool. A lot of people, it's tough. It's tough to like to get a garden that you can go make a salad out of is, regularly is a decent amount of work. So, but that sounds cool. Like just being able to wake up and, gardens are cool. They got all the bees and, all the bugs and stuff that come in and they're hanging out, birds, it just attracts life.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
It's peaceful.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, a vision to me is, it's not necessarily like goal setting style. It's more of what do I envision my life once I am financially free? And then what does financially free mean? And then so on and so forth. So like just saying, I want freedom. Okay. Freedom. I want freedom to be able to pick my healthcare provider without some insurance company telling me who I'm allowed to go see. I could pay cash, that type of stuff.
Yeah. But all right. So what's your money's no object, your bills are paid, you got money. Like, obviously you can't just go, unless this is your vision, just walk down and buy a Ferrari every day, cash. But let's say that your everyday needs of you and your family were covered. So you get up in the morning, you go make your salad out of your garden, and then
maybe a fruit smoothie in the morning, but
you got a nice, fruit trees going too. But what's the rest of your day look like? Have you gotten that far? Or?
So the ideal day, it's actually kind of a strange thing to actually, when you explore that in your mind, I don't feel like I have a clear picture yet because it's in progress, right? So right now it's, what do my relationships look like? What do my friendships look like? What does my health look like? So, so that's kind of how I'm doing it. So for example, health, I'm able to do things with ease. I feel strong. I'm able to go and just, run every day for 30 minutes, stuff like that. Just because I enjoy running actually. Yeah. So did my hip.
Yeah,
so did my hip.
Row in a kayak for 30 minutes.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. It's I really do want to be able to do things in life in general without, oh man, I can't do that. I'm just so tired. I just want to feel energized. So that's what it looks like. So, I feel energized. I'm strong. I eat well. I have a clean diet. So that's it. That's what it looks like. And then incorporating that into a story of what does my day look like. So, and it's hard to picture that because, my whole life, I'm 40 now, but my whole life, it's been about the grind. Yep. So it's really hard to imagine that life. So that's the thing about writing the vision is really dreaming. And then that the certain part of you, the engineer, is trying to figure out how it's going to work. But then, you just need to, you don't need to worry about that right now when you're in the dreamer stage. So it's actually a whole thing. I actually have help with my vision. So I'm constantly working. The mastermind group I'm in, there's one guy, David, that is actually helping me with that.
Good. Yeah, it's it's a big part of all this, whether you believe in whatever you believe in, higher power, manifesting, karma, whatever, it's I think it's all, the lesson is that it's that you do kind of create, you to an extent, obviously, that you can kind of create your own reality as far as and manifest those things, power of attraction, all that stuff that, you write it on the wall or write it down or whatever, it means something. It's you're putting it out there,
Right. Well, if you also don't have a clear target, what are you aiming at?
Exactly.
Right. So in real estate, if a deal comes across my desk and I'll give an example. One of the couples in my mastermind, they had a great opportunity to purchase nothing down, seller financing a assisted living facility that was going to cash flow ridiculous amounts, but it didn't line up with their vision. It was going to take so much time away from what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, so they actually turned it down, and they since and the 1 year, because they were quick about it. They wrote their vision. They had a very clear goal, and they've almost accomplished like 80% on that. So it's like once you have a clear vision and you know what you're aiming at, you can make those decisions when something comes across. It might seem like a great deal, but is it the right deal for you and your goals? So
That's very insightful. I feel like you're speaking to me on multiple levels. I literally had like 3 different houses and 3 different situations just running through my head on like staying in your lane has been with Miss Lane.
That's me.
But staying in your lane, I think it was Aaron Mazzrillo was posting on Facebook the other day, and something about $600,000 houses, and he's buying them all day long. And somebody was asking him, trying to keep this short. Somebody was asking him, why do you why don't you go do like the $1 million ones, or why don't you buy the 200,000? Like he's like, I stay in my lane, and
So I think Evan had a similar post.
yeah, well, that's what he's because he brought it up from there. So Evan was like, the other day, because we have a bunch of stuff on the desk at the moment that is some of it's, the lane can be a little bit wider sometimes. You can stretch a little bit. Like if it's still in your target market, but it's a higher price point than you normally go with, is it still in your lane? I don't know. But but you're right. Like back to the topic at hand, having it written down and and giving yourself that target and we did that with the club, where we set out a mission and vision statement that, guides it. So if there's ever any question on, well, should we start doing this or start doing that or whatever, we can look at the board and say, well, does it?
And I remember we did that. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that. We've done that a couple times now where, people have had ideas and or we've, been looking at going a certain way and
it didn't line up.
Yeah. It's like this clubhouse, it was like, is it going to help us get to where we want to be or not? And the answer was clearly yes, but for that, but, it's tough. It's definitely tough to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Like it's because it's that what do they call it? The Evan was just talking about it too. The shiny object.
Oh yeah.
So what shiny objects you got right now?
Shiny objects. Yeah, right now I feel like I'm just regrouping, refocusing, just making that clear, like what am I aiming at? That's kind of what I'm focusing on right now, and getting back from I just got back from my mastermind retreat this last week.
Yeah, you went to
Puerto
Mexico?
Vallarta. Yeah. So it's interesting because the flip I'm working on, we're in escrow. I got back one of my mobile homes. I already resold it. So I'm kind of like at ground, I don't say ground zero, but like at a fresh slate. Like I don't have really anything going on right now. And I'm like, all right, so currently I'm really focusing on my health because, and I don't care about like how much I weigh. It's how do I feel? And I just don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm really focusing on my health, my relationship with Andrew, the boys, and that's really what's important to me. And I feel like when I focus on those, and then of course, trying to find those leads and deals, and the right things will come. But I feel like right now I need to really take care of myself.
Yeah, that's important.
So
important. It's not just,
I don't know if that's a
not
shiny
just wealth.
object, but
No, absolutely not. No, I think that's the total opposite of a shiny object. Like not that you're not a shiny person, but it's the yeah, it's really tough. Dealing with the same, or not same thing, but similar thing right now where, there's so much going on, and especially when you get really into these deals sometimes, and it's just nonstop. And, it's tough. It's really easy to lose sight of, the health part,
Yeah.
because it's really easy to just cruise through Del Taco, right?
Yeah.
Or Jack in the Box
Yeah.
or whatever, In and Out, or you name it, it's real easy to just get like, I don't have time for that. I'll make better decisions tomorrow, and
Right.
then, so I feel you. So
I just try to find the balance, like the work, family, health, just all those different buckets, trying to find the balance, like where you're not so in one area. If you're like, I'm going to hear so many people that are very career driven and they're working 80, 90 hours a week, but where's their marriage, 10, 15, 20 years down the road? What about the relationship with their kids? So that's really what I'm trying to focus on is family, my relationship, my health, just growth in general.
yeah,
So.
absolutely. And I struggle with it too. So, sometimes I feel like and I'm sure Caitlin would agree that she's, that I'm always working, and I don't, especially when you enjoy something, it's, when you enjoy your work, it's tough, it's tough to break away, because you just want to do more, but it's like, okay, it's 2 a.m. Like, let's wrap it up here.
Yeah. Don't go on Zillow or Redfin at
Yeah,
2 a.m.
Somebody sent me a deal. I got 5 deals in my inbox, or there's something to do. But all right, so financial independence, being able to being free to not worry about finances. I think that's a pretty good way to think about that. So through real estate part, so financial independence through real estate, FIRE. Let's talk about the real estate side a little bit. So what was your first deal? You said you bought a house in Colorado. Was that your first house?
I don't know if that was my first purchase.
Would you call that your first deal?
Unknowingly, I guess it would be my first deal, but I feel like knowing that, okay, I want to invest in real estate, I would say no. I think it was like an accidental
landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you rented it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happens a lot. But you don't have that property anymore.
No.
Why would you sell such a nice house as that?
Well, shiny object syndrome. Yeah. I saw what I could net if I sold it. It was, at the time, I wasn't confident in renting out of state. I didn't have the best property manager in place. At first, they were really good. Then the property manager had a newborn, and she just was distracted. So I wasn't confident in my abilities back then, before I knew anything, to find someone to replace her. Or did I even think that I could do it? So if I knew what I know now, I probably would have kept it. But I sold it. I think I netted around $80,000.
Not bad.
So, and I only owned it for 2 years.
Did you hold it the full 2 years?
Yep.
And you didn't pay the taxes?
Yep. That was on purpose. So I did know that. I did.
Good job.
Yeah. I did know that.
Why is that? Explain that to somebody. If they didn't know that.
Okay.
This.
Well, I am not a tax professional, so I'll start with that. But
Good disclaimer.
So if you own a home for at least 2 years, then you can net up to, if you're single, up to $250,000. Not have to pay tax. Yeah, not have to pay taxes, or if you're married, up to $500,000.
So it's important out there if you buy something, your house hacking or the BRRRR method, BRR, BRRR, whatever. Those methods they work, but if you don't want to have a tax hit and you plan on rolling them over, wait 2 years, and then you won't have to pay tax, or you want up to $250,000 if you're single, and $500,000 if you're married. Obviously we'd say never sell. Well, not for 27 and a half years anyways. And then you could roll it over into 1031, but who knows? So, all right. So accidental landlord, sold it. What'd you parlay the money into? Like, what was next?
Well,
Trips to Vegas. Getting your nails done.
no, well, I'm not that I don't want to say what I did with it. I did do something with it, but I invested in other assets, not real estate, which I'm very happy with where I put it. And then, but yeah, so fast.
But you were smart. You did something.
I did, and it's doubled.
Important things you invested. Yeah, you didn't just
and it's doubled since, and it's very steady. So I'm very happy with the
you
growth.
Buy like a Porsche SUV. And
No,
just,
no.
Took an appreciating asset, sold it, and then bought a depreciating asset.
Nope, did not. Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So, all right. Well, what was your what was your first deal that you considered your first like real estate deal, not the accidental landlord one?
Yeah. So shortly after I took Andy Teasley's course, which is a 2-day course, and he teaches about the first day, it's all about the financial calculator, and the second day he teaches about selling mobile homes on seller financing to create notes
In parks. Well, mostly in parks.
In parks. So I took that course. It was actually Father's Day weekend in 2019. And I bought I just followed his recipe. I didn't do anything special. Just, he says what to do. I did it. 3 weeks later, I bought my first mobile home in a park.
Nice.
And I bought it for $5,000.
So you bought it for $5,000 in a park. Took Andy's class, bought it for $5,000 in a park. And then, I mean, the method is to what? You buy it, you fix it up.
Yep.
How much did you put into it?
Yeah. So, and then just so people know where that money came from. I'm a saver, so I like to have a certain amount like in my bank account, and then I like to have a certain amount of like cash on hand and stuff like that. So at the time I had $5,000. So a little lesson I learned is however much you have is how much you're going to spend. So if I would have had $1,000, I probably would have only bought it for $1,000. But I had $5, so I offered $5 and he accepted. So I don't know if I'll get to anyway. So I bought it for $5, and then we put $17,000 with like materials, labor, on a 0% interest credit card that Andrew had, and then borrowed another $5 from his dad. And then at the time I was still employed with Costco, so I was still getting a check. It just, anyway, it was long story.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know that detail, which it's really boring. So, but you can ask me one of these days. But then just those checks coming in, I use that money to like pay for the lot rent. So another $5,000, like holding costs, stuff like that. So all in was a $5,000 purchase, $10,000 in like holding costs, and then $17,000 in rehab and labor, or the materials and labor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So $32,000 total.
Nice. And then, which this is in California, right?
California.
Wow. You did a real estate deal for $32,000 in California.
In California. Now, people that aren't in California, they go, you spent $32,000 on a mobile home. And so usually people in other states, I go, just take off a zero. And they're, $3,200, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching this that are not in California, just remove a zero with my numbers.
We call it, for all intents and purposes, real estate. People live in it, but it's not, I guess, it's real property, I guess, is because it doesn't have a title, but, we call it real estate around here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So you took that, you put $32,000 into it, and then what'd you do?
So what I did, again, Andy's method is to sell it on seller financing. So I put it up for sale for $65,000. I collected, at the time, I should have collected a bigger down payment, but I really, really wanted to sell it. So I sold it with $5,000 down, and then I carried the balance of $60,000 over 10 years.
Nice. Nice. So what is your you sold the note?
So I sold a partial
Okay.
on the note. So I sold half of the note for half of the payments. So I got $30,000 plus that $5,000 of the down payment.
Yep. So you got all your money
So
back.
I got all my money back. Plus I had $3,000, which isn't a lot of profit for my first deal.
Hey.
But I wasn't negative. And this was my favorite part. I had the back 5 years of payments coming due, right, in 5 years. And then I would start collecting that money. So like free cash flow. So infinite return. I got all my money back, which it felt like I got paid because all the money I had spent.
It left your account.
even though I didn't get like 15,000 or whatever. I think I ended up with like my bank account had more in it than it started, and I was happy.
Yeah.
So first deal, I learned a lot.
There's a lot of
was
moving
great.
parts to that for a first deal. I mean, you know, by all accounts, and let's say flipping would have been your first, flipping a single family house would have been your first deal. You know, you buy it, you put the money into it, you sell it.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever you made in between there is that's it. This has that extra element of you sold. Not only did you sell the note, but you sold half of them, or half the payments, the first half of the payments. So you sold the first half of the note, and I bet you some people out there may be wondering, like, what does that mean? So
Yeah.
why would you do that?
Well,
I mean, you kind of hit on it a little bit.
yeah. In this example, I did it because I wanted my money back. That 0% interest credit card wasn't going to stay at 0%. So, paid that off, paid back Andrew's dad, paid back myself, and then I had, an extra $3,000. And then, so those were and I would have made more, but I made two. I would like to go over the two mistakes. And I say mistakes. They were lessons because I will not make this mistake again. So it's a lesson. So the first one was I overpaid for the mobile home.
Let's come back to those in a second.
Okay.
Keep going on the on the why
the note part. Yeah. Yep. So to get my money back, and then I also wanted the cash flow in the future. So I would just start collecting. I think it was little less than $700 a month. So I would just start receiving that in 5 years.
So how long ago was that?
That was in 2019.
Okay, so you're already.
What is that? 4 years in?
Yeah, so you're almost there. So a year. So she sold half the notes, or excuse me, half the payments up front to get all your money back, pay off all all the money you borrowed, and then you're gonna wait 5 years. But now, starting in a year, so you did this 4 years ago. Starting in a year, you're going to get how much a month?
It's almost 700.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you're going to get that for how long?
5 more years.
Okay. How much money is that?
What's 6 times 7? So like 42,000, right? Is that right?
Yeah, it sounds good.
700 times 60.
Yeah. My head math sounds right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're going to get $700 a month. I bet you can't wait for that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm already shopping for cars. No, okay.
Yeah, no, I bet. Well, hey, I mean, if you're gonna go buy a car with something, so you got. I think the cool thing here is that, you did a deal, you flipped it, and then you were out essentially nothing. You got it all back. You made a little bit of a profit. Yeah, you had to wait 5 years. But then you also got to do, because somebody might be saying like, well, why didn't you just take because you would have gotten the $700 a month payments, these first 5 years also, and you would have made money, right? But what did you get to do with that $30,000 back over these last 5 years?
Yeah, I did more.
Yeah.
Do more deals.
So yeah, it's a really, if you can, I think a lot of this game is delayed gratification. Like you gotta, you're making plays for the future, not necessarily right this second. So if you're okay making your money 5 years down the line, you've set up a way to do that. That's a hell of a way to get some nice returns. I mean, is that the only one you have that you've hypothecated like that?
No,
Or sold the first half?
I have. I'm trying to think of how many. I've done 8 total. So, and that was the first 2 years. I was doing like 1 a quarter.
Total. Okay.
I personally, I like just working on one project at a time. So kind of John Schaub's whole thing is one house at a time. I'm one mobile home at a time. So that's good for me. I like that pace. I know once I get into 2, I get a little overwhelmed and then burnt out. So one at a time is good for me. But
so you got 8 hanging out there that you...
Well, not the 2. A couple of them I got cash offers. So those I didn't have to wait 5 years for those ones. I had 2 of them. Actually, the person gave the house back to me.
Okay.
So that's a whole different numbers game because then essentially I'm not having to pay for the house a second time. It's already rehabbed, so I make even more the second time I sell it.
So how many do you have waiting out there that in the next, few years are you going to start paying on the back half of those notes? If you feel comfortable saying that.
I think I only have 3.
Okay. That's still, are they around the same numbers?
They're a little bit more. They're in the 800s,
nice.
The other ones.
Nice. So they're staggered a little bit. So that's cool. I know we've done a few of those deals too. Me and my partners have done a few of those deals also. And I'll be honest, it was a hard, like, I wanted to just sell the note for the whole thing. Like I wanted the money now. Mo suno, mo better. As Bill Chan says.
Yeah.
But now, that was a lot of that was like 3 or 4 years ago. And now that we did the same thing, we sold half the note, hypothecated a little bit of it or the half of it. And now some of those are going to start coming due and we're going to start getting paid. And I'm going like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can wait, it's nice because especially when you get all your capital back and then, just surprise and,
because you've already moved on.
Time flies so fast. Everyone, if people can remember 2019, which is, I'm pretty sure most people can because 2020, everyone remembers. So, and look how COVID? Fast that went, So.
Yeah. All right. So bring it back. What was the 2 lessons? Not mistakes. Lessons.
Yes. Lessons. It's only a mistake if you do it again. So, the first one was when I created my 2 offers. When I made 2, like the 2 offers was one cash, which was $5,000. And then the other offer was, I think it was like $2,000 down or $1,500 down with payments. And it came out to like $10,000. And when I first made it, I was like 5,000. Oh, I don't know why. I felt like I should have offered $1,000. But I was like, there's no way this guy is going to accept $1,000 for his, for his home. And whatever. When I presented the offers, he jumped on the $5,000 like instantly. It was just like that one.
Yeah, you didn't even finish saying the
didn't
1,000.
Even flinch.
He was like, you said 5, and he was like, yep.
He was like, that one. And right in that moment, not even doing this ever before, I knew that I offered too much. And on top of that, kind of like a 2-for-1 on the same lesson is I never got a number from him. He just said, whatever you think is fair. So and then because I had $5,000 to spend, I spent it. Yeah. So, and most people can be like, oh, well, how do you know you paid too much? Well, I know because his neighbor that knows everyone in the park and she was like, she told me one day, which actually bought her mobile home a year later.
Talk to your neighbors.
talk to the neighbors, make friends with the neighbors, hang out. I would hang out with her at least an hour every time I was there. Yep. But she was like, I cannot believe you pay that much. I was like, oh yeah? She's like, yeah, he said he would have taken $1,000. So that's how I actually know I paid but that's a $4,000 lesson that I learned.
That's a pretty cheap lesson.
Yeah. And then the other one, Andy says it over and over and over and over in his class. And I've taken his class now as a student, I believe 2 times. And then I've been a guest speaker, or his student speaker a few times. So I've been, and he says it multiple times. Do not over rehab your mobile home. But every single person on their first one that I even know, I have friends that call me, I've put so much money. I was like, Andy says not to do it. But it happens. I think you have to do it to learn your lesson. Mm-hmm. But I put everything brand new in there. And so, yeah, I probably overspent by $10,000.
Yeah.
In materials.
I know what you're saying. And we've done some of the same things, especially the first couple that we did. But I don't know, where do you draw the line between, sure, you could go buy all new lights from Home Depot, okay, and for flush mounts, it's $35 a light it's $70 for a 2-pack, okay, and you could just order online, have your guy pick it up, whatever, slap 4 lights into a mobile home and call it a day. Or you could take time out of your day, go down to, the rehab store, the Habitat for Humanity store, and pick out some used stuff and then drive it over to the thing. And, I just put the new lights in.
Yeah. So now, do the lights work? I leave them.
I don't know if I could do that.
It's you got to get that HGTV picture out of your head.
Oh yeah, but they're both yeah. I know. I laughed at you saying that to me because I say that to other people.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. When you're in it, you're like but you can't. It is a different market. You can't be like, what would I want this house to look like? You're right. I focus on the things that need to work. Is it working? Mm-hmm. If it's working, I leave it alone. If it's broken, I'll fix it. I won't replace it unless, I have to.
Really?
So
even if the ceiling fans, from the 80s and it's still got the stained glass.
I really wish you would have come to see my my most recent mobile home that I got back. Mm-hmm. I wish you saw it in person and saw how I sold it.
It's what is it, the 80s look or is this the one you did too much of? Or I was
no. This is the one I did absolutely nothing to besides have someone from the club that has a junk hauling business came, cleaned it out, did some landscaping, and I called it a day.
Yeah. So it's funny because I would say you need to take Evan because I'm sitting there a lot of the times on the mobile homes, especially I'm usually the one that's going dude, I don't know, because he'll come in and after it's all done, he'd be like, can we caulk that and do that or fix these little things? And I'm like, I don't care. It's a little mobile home, it's fine. And but it's when you walk someone else's rehab, it's so easy to just start picking things out that got missed because when you're not looking at the right, when you're not the one that's in it, and managing the project or in it all the time, you just don't see stuff anymore. It's it's. But anyways, we're getting a little off topic. But anyways, so that was your second. So number 1 was don't overpay. Number 2 was
don't over rehab.
Don't over rehab.
Yes.
Don't over rehab.
Yes.
I'd say that's subjective. No, I'm just kidding.
I actually, one of my friends that over rehabbed one, we were talking one day and I was like, hey, he actually got another mobile home under contract. And originally we were talking about partnering on it. But I went over there, looked at it. I was like, I would do this only, which the subfloor was it was bad in certain areas. Like I forgot where the soft spots were and I almost fell through a couple times. But I was like, just fix this, clean, like take all the furniture out and just sell it like that. Like that was it. And he did, and he loved that so much better than fully fixing up another one. And then he even paid me a consulting fee.
Cool.
Yeah. So
there you go. So
if you want a mobile home consultant,
there you go. Hit you up.
Yeah.
Hey, that's cool. So, all right. So you've done like 8 of these. I know you've done a handful of notes, right? More than a handful. How many notes are you up to now? Do you know?
The mobile home notes?
Let's say like, well, because you've done like, you've done some where you've taken notes, not necessarily like I guess outside of the mobile homes.
Okay.
Not counting those. I count the mobile homes as like the whole thing, but like.
Well, I mean, I've lent money out of my IRA. That was to a friend that I've known for several years. Actually, someone I met by going to just different real estate conferences, and he did some really cool stuff out in Tennessee, and really cool Airbnbs. So I lent him some money for land, and then he built a really cool tree house there. I've lent money out just like micro loans, so which like I did a $3,500 loan at 15% and 2 points out of my IRA. So I've done stuff like that.
What did you lend on for
that? What do you mean?
The micro, like you 3,500 you just lent them the 3,500?
Yep.
Just cash, personal guarantee.
They secured it to their vehicle, but I these are usually people I know that I know are good for it. So I have that relationship with people. So.
Cool. Yeah, I've been trying to put some IRA funds to work and stuff like that, and they're just little. So I was just curious. Evan's been doing. He's been working with George Antone. He was in George Antone's program, and he was doing some on Prosper. Have you heard of Prosper? Mm-mm. It's like a. It's a website you can go to like borrow like microloans from, but they also have like a lending platform.
Okay.
And you can, lend money to people like all over the world for small like amounts you're talking, and it's just to get like the velocity of money, kind of just keep your money working.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if your money's sitting idle, and you're waiting for that 15%, 18% return, whatever return you're looking for, and it's just sitting there, you like the whole entire time you should have just done something at like 9%. Or, just so it was working for you.
Yeah.
So that's why, today in Exchangers, I looked at my account, how much idle cash do I have, and I made an offer on a note for that amount. So I was like, I have this amount, I want to get it working.
Yeah, there you go. What was tell us more about the offer.
Oh yeah. So it was one of the guys put his vehicle up. And I believe you made an offer for like $3,000 down. Was it $200 or $250 a month?
$250 a month, yeah.
Until paid. And then because I took Andy's class, I plugged in that info, and I put in what I wanted to get as a return, and figured out that I wanted to offer the amount that I think it was like $8,500 for a $12,000 note.
Yeah.
Which was a good enough return for me, and it'd just be in my IRA. But that money that's in my IRA wouldn't be just sitting there not doing anything. I get it to work.
Yeah,
So.
and then the person that had the car that didn't want to, it sounded like he wanted more cash than anything. It didn't seem like he was too interested in the payments all that much, but. He got his money. He got more money. What do you like 11.5?
Yep.
Up front, and I think he was looking for like a minimum of 13. So that's
Pretty close.
Pretty close, but that's kind of the stuff we do exchangers. Where it's not necessarily it's not real estate, but we'll make a deal that then somebody he could take that money and go invest in real estate.
Yeah.
or,
You could.
you know, who knows, you know, but it definitely teaches you the finance game, you know, because that's really, you know, the higher level you get with this stuff, it seems to be more and more about that than the houses.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do want to explore the note space a little bit more. I do know probably need more fun, like the lending aspect of it. So, so that's something that I look forward to doing more in the future.
Nice.
For sure.
Nice. I mean, too. There's somebody just posted in another group I'm in on Facebook, and they were like, I lend, you know, anywhere from 500,000 to like 5 million, 3%. And I was like, I don't think it was real. Like, I think it was probably a spammy thing, but I was like,
Yes.
yeah, it was, and I was like,
Sounds good.
but I started looking at, you know, I was going to call him out. Like, my first reaction was just post, all right, I'll take $1 million at 3%. Like, I'll figure out how to turn it into 10.
Right. If those were real, like I could easily do that.
Sure,
Yeah.
for sure. I don't know what their game is, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, with the notes and everything is trying to because like I have a credit card that I don't even use right now. It's got like a $15,000 limit, and they're doing some program where I can like borrow against the card at a 7% interest rate. I just like take a loan against the credit. And I was like, well, if I could just turn that around for 10 or 12 or with some points, like, you know, I mean, it's going to,
Why not?
I can't do the whole thing. Otherwise it's going to like, well, I guess it wouldn't affect my credit that much, but, you know, so there's all that. And then the IRA and the HSA and, you know, where I got this little pockets of money trying to do something with, and it's all just sitting there. So if you want it, let me know.
Yes. Was that on the board today? I don't remember seeing.
I keep throwing it up on the board, but I haven't been able to do anything. So I skipped
on the
it.
board? I
didn't do it today. I didn't do it today because I'd put it up the last couple weeks or a few weeks, and nobody had really taken me up on it. Actually, I did have a deal locked up with one person, actually two, and they unfortunately fell through. So I guess it was contingent on some other money. So because it's such, you know, the dollar amounts are, you know, I don't have that IRA up to, you know, 100 that I can lend somebody a first.
Yeah.
Yet. But the note game is very interesting. Very interesting. So anyways, and it's all tied into real estate. Most of the time it's backed by real estate, or, you know, today we were talking about doing like a three-prong note with putting everybody in first and, you know, 125 from 3 different people and putting it all together to do a rehab with, and then trying to find $200,000 to fix the place. So on a different note.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there was 1 week where there was it a 5-way deal that you guys did? I wasn't there that week.
Yeah.
It was like the week one of the weeks I was
Yeah. We were
here.
trying to put together a long-term like gap funding. But I think it turned out that the LTV was like a little off from what they were talking about. So I don't think it worked out.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I mean. It's like I'm getting closer,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, so
That's cool.
I mean, it might be me a little bit. You know, I got a little bit of FOMO in the note thing. Like I'm like, no, I could get a little bit better. Like I want to hang on to it. You know, I need I think I messed up the other day. I was like, it was like $1,000, or it was like $10,000 that I was going to lend, and I thought like 1 point was going to be $1,000, and I was like, oh yeah, we'll make like $2,000 in points, and I was like, no, that'd be like 10 points. so I messed that up. But anyways, all right. So let's talk about the club. Want to talk about the club? All right.
Yeah. I love this club.
This what are we? The Inland Empire. Just kidding. IEREIC, the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. So you were originally a member in 2019, and then COVID happened, and we ran into each other in Vegas.
Yep.
We talked about that earlier, and then you started coming, and then wasn't too soon after that you asked me if I needed help. and it turns out that I needed a lot of help, and you have been a lot of help.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that?
Honestly, it was it was weird. I was actually having a conversation with Andrew. I should get a job. No, I don't want to get a job. I'm like, but if I did get a job, I would want it to be real estate related. I would want to work when I want to work. I started listing all these things. I want to be fun. I want to still learn about real estate. And so it just, I mean, call it what you want. Did I manifest it? I don't know. But it literally was everything that I was looking for. And I've grown so much, partly because I know how I am. If I don't have to punch a clock, I'm not going to go to work. So knowing,
Well, that's not true. I mean, you don't punch a clock at your.
well, so my point is, I did sign up for, I am doing this. So I'm like, I don't know how many times, well, I take that back. I was going to say how many times I don't feel like going. But it's not that I don't feel like going.
Plans and then like you for.
Yes.
Like,
everyone has that.
Plans? Yeah.
Everyone has that. You're like, oh, I already
I was
committed.
supposed to go to Universal Studios on Tuesday, and then it came, and I was like, oh, I can't.
Exactly. So, I mean, we've all done that. But because I have a commitment, I come to everything. People are like, you're at everything. I'm like, well, I kind of have to be, but it's not that I have to be, like I want to be. Mm-hmm. So, it's funny because I'll tell someone, oh my gosh, you have to go to Exchangers. It's my favorite event. I'm like, well, cash flow is also my favorite event, but I also like the tribe building. So, because we have all these events now, and I really do enjoy all of them. Our members are great. We have a lot of regulars that have become really good friends of mine. I've done deals with these people. It's really fun. I mean, we've taken groups out bowling. We have I quit my job parties. So it's fun, and I mean, who gets to say I get to hang out with my friends and talk real estate? Like and I get paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's okay. That's not the motivator. I mean,
at least that makes one of us.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much for your help. We definitely wouldn't be here. So, thank you.
Yeah.
What is your? I know you just kind of went through it, but like what? I mean, because we've gone through a ton of changes in the last, what's it been? Almost about a year? Well, year and a half.
Since I've been on? Yeah. So, I mean, I think I was official February of 22.
Yeah.
And
it's only been a year?
Official.
Jesus.
I know. Yeah.
Like
so 10. I feel like a lot of the changes came once we got the clubhouse. Mm-hmm. Just because we have space. I mean, all the stuff you've dreamt about is coming to fruition. Mm-hmm. So it's it's awesome.
Yeah. So then what's your, I mean, I can't believe it's only been a year. Sorry. That like blew me away that I was like, yeah, it's only been a year.
Yeah. A lot has happened.
So like we used to, before we had the clubhouse, tell us about what we used to do before we had the clubhouse. Like what a day in the life of Farrah setting up for an event.
So lots of stairs. So we, our old office was probably the size of this room. Yeah. About, which was what,
like
200
a little bit skinnier and a little bit longer, but
yeah. What was it? 200 and something square feet?
Yeah. It was
under
like
300.
It was 190 between all the
190.
cabinets we had in there. It was like the footprint of what we had to work with was 190 square feet. And it's probably.
And now we're at 2,700.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It's awesome. So yeah, that it was upstairs in a building in downtown Riverside, and luckily there was help, and Andrew would show up to help. I would, a lot of people would offer to help. But going up and down the stairs with a wagon and suitcases.
There wasn't an elevator?
No elevator. No elevator. So yeah,
It's
just
an old
going.
building.
Yep.
Old
So
pipes.
it was
And old smells.
It was interesting, but there's trade-offs. So back then we would show up and the food was prepared by whatever location we were showing up at. And then here we take care of the food, but I don't have stairs. So I would much rather,
Sometimes
be
I
here.
don't miss the stairs. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, go back.
Definitely. No, that was awful. That was, I have like flashbacks about, no, I'm just kidding. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
It was bad, but it was what we had to do. It was what we had to do back then. And we had less events, but it was definitely more, I don't know if I would say less work or more work, but it was definitely like more stressful and strenuous. Like, cause you had to get to we had to get to the venue, 3 hours, easily.
Early,
I mean, we still get here early to set up for events, but it's like we're making lemonade and, filling up the coffee and stuff like that. Like, it's putting chairs out, it's not like we have to haul the entire sound system, and pack it up, set it up, break it down. The whole check-in table. We used to have it. Would you have it like in a little
suitcase?
A little suitcase.
Yep.
On wheels. And so, anyways, yeah. So we have this clubhouse now. Everything's pretty much set up and ready to go.
It is really nice, and we had an event last night. It was our tri building event, and I honestly, it went so smooth.
Yeah.
We had great volunteers helping with the event, so it really freed up a lot of my time to be able to talk to people. So yeah, it was cool.
what's your now? We got exchangers, we got tri building, fire focus, fire fast, the fire chat. There's like a theme going here. What else we got? We got fire classes. What's like your favorite right now? If you had to pick.
I just was saying how they're all my favorites, and you want me to pick my favorite.
I know. That's what gave me the idea for the question.
Let's see. I tend to lean towards exchangers only because so much you really get creative, and then you hear Andy trying to help people structure deals. There's been times where I see something, I'm not sure how to do it, and I'll even say that, like, hey, I want to do something with this. I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? So you get that kind of like help to structure a deal, or ask questions about, wait, what is that? What does that mean? So I think there's a lot of learning there, and I notice that a lot of times I go to conferences and people start talking about wraps or just things in general, and the questions they're asking, and I know the answer, but I know
that.
Yeah, and it's like, well, how do I know that? I feel like it's because I go to exchangers, and then actually doing deals with people. I've done non-real estate related deals, quite a few of them. I've been meaning to go back and actually log them, but I've probably done more deals in exchangers than I have in real estate.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
So it's I don't see, that's hard because I love cash flow too. I love the game night.
I forgot about game night. Yeah.
Try building like that. That's also good. Just because, you really get to get to know the members, and then also the new people, because we get so many new people, and the new people are excited too, and they're great. I met quite a few last night, and some of them became members already. So they see what's going on here and love it. What's your favorite? I'm curious now.
I think we're probably on similar waypoints there. I would say overall, if I looked at like why we're all here, and it's ultimately for like the camaraderie and the community and tribe building and to make deals, So I think, my top two would be tribe building and exchangers, by far. I mean, exchangers specifically, when Andy and I went to, well, it was me, my mom, Angela, and Evan, went to Pete's class in 2020, in late 2020. And Andy was there. And we did an exchange meeting, because the St. Petersburg RIA, or I don't remember their name off the top of my head, but Pete's home club, they were doing an exchange meeting at just sitting out on the patio at like a diner. I don't even remember what the name of the diner was, but I was sitting there just going like, just sitting on a patio watching people just like trade paper. Like, they're like, I got this house and I want to trade it for this and blah, blah, blah. And it was mostly real estate, and Pete's just sitting there, just
making offers,
just quietly, not saying them out loud, just quietly handing them to people, and that was the first, because I've been to a ton of RIA meetings, here, other states and stuff like that. And that was the first one that I was like, damn, like they're doing it. Like they're doing it for real. Like they're not sitting around talking about doing it. Like they're doing it.
Yep.
And
we do real deals.
Yeah. And I was like, Andy, we got it. Like he'd been telling me about it, and he's like, we should do an exchange meeting. I didn't know what an exchange meeting was, He's like, yeah, we got to do this. And then when I went to St. Pete's and saw that, I was just like, yep, like, dude, we got to do this. Like I'm on board. What do we got to do? And it's been really, really cool to watch exchangers turn into what it has. I think, now we're in the warehouse, and, we routinely got like 30, 40 people showing up
in person,
and then another, 30, 40 people on Zoom. Yeah. And I know we weren't the first ones to come up with I don't think we came up with any of the ideas on our own. I mean, the whiteboard thing had already existed. I know people had tried to do some hybrid stuff, but I think we're maybe, there's other exchange meetings that do a way different format than we do. But I think we were the first ones to really like just do it like in the style that we're doing with the whiteboard live and on Zoom, trying to keep the two mediums like interacting between each other, and it's working out really well, and I think
people from all over the country coming. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, and then tribe building, like, somebody asked me last night, like, why did you start doing this one? And it really just came about from, I went to one. There was the local, the Phoebes in SoCal used to do, I don't know if they do it anymore. I haven't seen it in a while, but they used to do a quarterly network thing. Just like 200 people would show up, and that's all they did was network all night. And I was like, that's really cool, but they would only do it quarterly, And then I just figured after COVID, we'd all been seeing all we'd been doing through COVID was watching people talk on the screen, and getting speakers from all over the world, all over the country. I figured just like everybody was kind of sick of that and they wanted to meet in person and actually talk.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that's the meeting that I actually get to take a little bit of a break and go talk to people. Because I feel like a lot of the other times, I don't get to do that so often. So, I think that's probably why tribe building and game night too, but definitely.
See, it's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
That's like having how many, I mean, if each event was a kid, we have like how many kids? Mm-hmm. And then picking a favorite.
Yeah.
Just depends on the
different,
day.
Yeah, different reasons. I think overall
reasons.
though, I'd probably go with tribe building, because at the end of the day, like, we're trying to build a community, and that's when I see that community. Obviously, that community is making deals and exchangers, but tribe building is when, like, the whole community is there, and it's just the whole energy in the room of everybody talking and making friends and building relationships, and hopefully they're doing some deals in the room too. I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
But that's where I can, like, kind of sit back and look at what's going on and be like, all right, this is working.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I guess that would be my overall one. So, and we get really nice food for the tribe building.
Yeah. And
the Chinese food was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
So, all right. So, like, I guess, what are you most excited for the club in the future? What does the future hold? Maybe you're rolling it, something that's coming down the pipe.
Well, because it's so new, I'm still kind of navigating it, but the focus groups, right? So
you run one of those, don't you?
Yeah.
Which
So
one?
it's it's the rental focus group, and it's the first Wednesdays of the month. Here at the clubhouse, and it's only in person.
For now.
For now. Oh, goodness sakes, don't change things on me. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm the host. So I'm really excited to find like Stephanie Figueroa. She's coming for this next month to talk about short-term rentals. And I'm just, like, really excited because she's a club member. She's, she went from being an RN to doing this full time. So it's a very encouraging story just to show how quick real estate can get you out of your 9 to 5. And she did it through short-term rentals. I mean, there's many ways to do it, but she did it with short-term rentals. So I think that's great. And just showing that, like, hey, look what our members are doing. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And like, I think it's so cool that especially with the focus groups and just even outside of them, like that. I realized this the other day, and like, I just had this realization that, like, we don't, as much as, like, I'd like having, like, the very knowledgeable, like, national speakers and people come in and and talk to the group. I mean, we're never going to stop doing that, but I was like, man, we got some people that know a lot of stuff, like, right here in our club that, we can put Stephanie on stage for an hour and teach people about short-term rentals. We could put Evan and Jim and, put a whole class together. Andy could get up there and talk about notes, a good one, and, and flipping and wholesaling. It's like, we don't really, not that there's anything to not, that definitely don't know all of it. Like, I'm not saying that, we're going to bring in speakers still, from outside, but it's just crazy the amount of knowledge that's sitting here. And, I'm happy you guys are able to I'm most excited about the focus groups, all of them for that reason, because, you guys know what you're doing as far as running them, and you have your own knowledge to share, and you have the knowledge to bring in other people and share their knowledge. So,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, that's, and it's really cool. I mean, because you said, Farrah, this is yours. Do what you want. So I get to do what I want. This is awesome. So you have no opinion at all, right?
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
No opinion?
Nope.
Got that on tape, you guys. I got that on tape.
Yeah. No official position. Or no official opinion. No, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. The first one went really well. I know they're only going to get better. So,
yeah.
And we'll get them dialed in. And I don't know if I guess I hadn't told anybody yet, but I'm planning on putting a camera in the back of the room and maybe broadcasting it out to Zoom, not doing like not interacting. Like, I don't want to add an element to the meeting like exchangers where you have to, like, monitor Zoom or anything, but if people wanted to come on and watch, maybe we'll just stream it to YouTube and make it easy. Where just so people can see it, and maybe ask questions. But like, we're not going to try and like quiet the room so the Zoom can hear or anything like that. So, maybe, might be a case on case basis. So
maybe. All right.
Apparently she has an opinion. She doesn't look too thrilled about this idea.
I'm just thinking if the only reason is, I know how I am. And if it's like, if I have an option to do Zoom, I might not go in person. I might just stay home.
Well, we are right. I'm glad you brought that point up because, we are, we're growing and that might not be a bad problem. If a lot of people come in person and, people can watch from home too. So,
yeah. And I know things happen where, we have soccer right now and it's really like last night, our oldest had a game. So, I wasn't able to be at the game and I was here, but I'm saying obviously it's my job. So I'm here, but, for other people that maybe they could throw in an AirPod and be at the game, but be listening to the meeting. I understand.
Yeah. And we won't be like piping them into the room or anything like that. Like it'd just be just a broadcast, really just a broadcast, like a live broadcast, not even like a hybrid meeting. So just to have that extra
you're the boss. So you get
a lot of people have been asking about it, and we have, we have the technology, so, and the ability to do it. So I figured why not give it a shot? I don't know if I'm not trying to do that like next week, but because I'm recording them anyways. I have the camera in the back of the room that I've been recording them, and just to do content and content creation and stuff like that for future.
Yep.
So, all that. So, anyways, let's see, we're almost there. What else you got?
Well,
I'm supposed to be the host, but what else you got?
well, more, so I think it's really cool that you're starting the podcast. So I'm excited to be on. And I know that you have like other members have been signing up to get interviewed. What did you like? What was your intent behind that, or like what was like your why did you design that
for the podcast specifically?
The podcast,
I watch a lot of these. I always thought it would be, the club used to have a podcast. Well, I guess it wasn't really the clubs, but Todd used to host a podcast, I guess, for the club, but it wasn't the official club. I don't even know.
I think it was a radio show.
Yeah, it was like more like a radio show, but it was like a different branding. And they had the club's stuff out, but it wasn't like officially. I don't really know. Not important, I guess. But I thought it was a really good model. I thought I always wanted to bring it back in some form or another. And I thought doing it with the FIRE thing in mind, like the financial independence of real estate, would be a good jumping off point to like just for content creation in general, like for the club, and really get an idea on or get a better idea on who everybody in the club was. Because again, like we're trying to build a community, or we are building a community, and I thought this would be a good medium for people to get to know one another that maybe they don't get all to meet everybody. It might take you, a little while to meet, you come into the club and you meet everybody, but like to really get to know other people and like what they're about and what they want to do, or what they focus on, and, or what their dreams are, like that kind of like what drives them, that financial independence, driving them towards that. And that other people could see it, and watch it on their own time and be like, I feel that way too. I used to work at Costco. Like I know exactly what she's saying, right? Like, and whether you're in the club or not, and you're just watching this, maybe you're not a member or you are, and you get an idea of, maybe things that you're thinking are, they're valid, and maybe your parents or whoever are telling you you're crazy, or, that you can't really do this. And,
We're doing it. We're doing it.
So there's a definitely multi-prong thing. I just thought it was, I wanted to do it with a little bit more production value and everything too than it was in the past. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I really just thought it would be a good
I like that
platform.
It's the members too, because I mean, because I go through it too, is sometimes we don't have that time where we can sit there and talk to one person for 30, 40 minutes. And being the club president, you're able to like really get to know your members and they get to know you. Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot that. Like that was a big reason too and what's funny was when I thought I would do like kind of like entrance interviews separate from the podcast. But then I started doing them and I was like, because we've recorded a few of these, as like test runs and some other stuff. And I was like, no, like we're just this is what we're going to do, just get members and sit down and have a chat. And, I'm going to bring in, other people that aren't members too. Like I wanted to, some of those national speakers or, I am planning on when Pete comes out in August to do the class. So, we've had the fourth Wednesday is on a rotation for game night and try building and a kind of in the works third event. And I think I'm going to do this live with Pete.
Oh, awesome.
But like out there. So I got to like, if I didn't have enough time, if it wasn't all complicated enough, now I got to get all this stuff out onto the stage in the warehouse. But I think it'd be really cool. Like kind of how, Stephen and Todd Stephen used to interview people, in person, at the Mission Inn. And
I remember that. Yeah.
And I don't want to do that every single time, but I think it'd be cool, like every few months to maybe have a speaker come in and get that national, the bigger regional national guys that are more well known and get them up there and just interview them live, take some questions from the audience, kind of thing. And more of just get up and talk for, an hour kind of thing, just a little bit more interactive. So, so there's just a lot of, there's a lot of benefits, I guess. But the main thing is getting to know people, because unfortunately I don't get to, interact with every single person that walks in the door, even last night, we've been going for like 5 minutes. Somebody was like, "Hey, I got some new members. Do you have a couple minutes?" I'm like, "I might in like 10 minutes." And I did make my way over there. I made it a point to get back over there, but I got to talk to them for, I don't know, 90 seconds each.
Yeah, and then you get pulled away for something else, or like I was actually making my way. I'm like, oh, I see a few new faces. I actually was able to, mingle a little bit, and I was making my way over there. And someone I know just like comes over and is like, "Hey," and that's fine. And so I was like, okay, I was trying to make my way over. I eventually got over there, but it happens, especially when you have that position in the club. People know you, so you get pulled pretty quick.
Yeah, it's hard to forget, or it's easy to forget sometimes too. Like that, like just because I see everybody like that, I need to, spend more time like doing this. So, and I also want, I don't plan on it just being me hosting. I wouldn't mind having some guest hosts, and if you want to come in here and interview somebody, or I created this kind of recording studio as like a means for not just content for the club, but for people to do this that want to do their own stuff, or I'm trying to like future stuff, like if you want to do your own podcast, you need a recording studio, like rent it out or something like that. I don't know, so but it's everything else in this clubhouse. It's the club's first, so anything we can do beyond that, is a plus. But
well, I really enjoy what you've done with the club, and it's very unique. I know most RIAs, they have like one meeting a month. I think before it was the fourth Wednesday, and then the Saturday before they had a coffee event. And I mean, we just we have a lot going on, but I mean, at the same time, it's great because you don't feel alone. You're not this crazy person that thinks that real estate is an actual, something that you could make a career out of, and you find your people. You find your people here.
Yeah, build your tribe.
Yep.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I think that's probably a good place to stop with the build your tribe. So,
Yeah.
If people want to get a hold of you, maybe do a deal, we're just talking about real estate or, whatever, how did they get a hold of you? Whatever you're comfortable with saying on YouTube.
I mean, I think the easiest thing to remember, and it's pretty universal now, is Instagram. I'm Farrah for Freedom, the number 4. And that's kind of goes along. It's just, it's been a recurring theme in my life. Yeah, it's my business is Infinite Freedom. If you want to email me, that's my email. My email address is a little long, but it's infinitefreedomcorporation@gmail.com, all spelled out. Yeah. Cool. So those are probably the best 2 ways to get a hold of me.
Okay. So at Farrah for Freedom was your Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And that was FIREchat, and we'll catch you again on the next one.
All right.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.